It Happened on the Job, the podcast for relatable conversations with contractors. Sponsored by Goodman Insurance.
Welcome to It Happened on the Job, episode 122 today. My name's Mike. That's Brian.
Yep.
With us today, we got a couple guests from just down the road over here in RSM. We got Patrick Sheerin, Director of Recruiting, and Chris Golden, CEO. How you guys doing?
Just hustling.
Hustling there, yeah.
Trying to stay away from COVID.
Fantastic, man. We appreciate you guys dropping in. It's like we said, you guys are just down the road, so this has got to be pretty convenient for you.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, Chris, maybe if you could kind of start us off, give us a little of your history. Let us know how you got started in this industry and what led you to where you are now.
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting one. Yeah, I don't even know. My dad was a bridge carpenter, so obviously it's family. And I got into construction after going to college, and I didn't know what to do because I got out trying to figure out what's next. And
Right.
Got married, and my dad was like, "You should not do what I do. Go do what your wife's dad does. He's an electrical contractor." And so that's how I started in electrical construction.
So when you say like bridge contract or bridge carpenter, he's like literally building bridges?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So he did that for...
Which metaphorically is what I'm trying to do as a director.
Building bridges.
Yeah.
Oh, I see
We're
how
all
you made the
building
connection
bridges. You said this was your first podcast.
I just tee it up, he hits
Yeah,
it.
right?
It's like T-ball right here.
So you got into electrical with your father-in-law?
Yeah. So I...
And he had his own company, or did he bring you into a company he was working for?
No, he had his own company, a large company. They're about $400 million a year.
Well, that's it.
Yeah, just a touch.
You guys are what? You guys build yours up to like $390 now?
Yeah, we're just right, hovering right there. Yeah, it's one of those things like never wanted to really do it the same way.
Right.
We sought to go a different direction. They were union, we were merit, but that's not more. Ours is more geared towards construction futurism and technology. Rather, I mean, you've seen our industry; it's rather archaic.
Yeah.
Like we do say this.
Well, it's the reason why we're sitting here doing this and why we're pushing this more than anything is.
Sure.
Yeah, we actually have gotten worse. I mean, if you ever go see Disneyland get built in like whatever the 1940s and 50s, that thing flew in like 4 months.
Right.
From dirt
Well,
to
a lot of that
full-on
has to do
functioning
with
building.
probably California legislature and
Bureaucracy and red tape and all that, yeah.
Yeah, also our tradesmen have changed.
Yeah.
Like
It's a confluence of poo-poo, honestly. Between the skill
we're
level
listed as explicit, so you don't have to use the kid
Or
words.
you can say poo-poo.
Yeah, or poo-poo's good, but
poo-poo's good.
Yeah, you look at it, it's like when I got into the trade, I started, because I got out of school, it was a different time. Like, I came out, I went to SC undergrad, SC grad, and
Fight on.
yeah, same, but I couldn't even get a job. And I did well in school. It was
Would you
just
graduate?
2000, well, a lot of times. So,
How about the first time?
I think 2004,
Okay,
2005.
yeah.
And so I was just like unemployable, and I was
Yeah.
like, what am I going to do? So that's how I got into slang and conduit. And I started as an apprentice, just working out there. Everyone tells you got to go to college because it's like the thing you need to do, and you're going to achieve something greater. And then I come from San Bernardino. I come from like humble roots. My family's Pennsylvania. Like I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. I get there. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And then just found myself into a trade that made more sense for me and started slinging conduit and wire and started seeing that there's a lot of great people in our industry. The trade was totally different. People used to know math. Today, for some reason, we went to Common Core, ruined a whole generation of kids. You guys know what I'm talking about. You have
I
kids.
know, I got kids. I got to relearn the whole thing.
This is horrific,
Yeah.
right? It's like,
Uh-huh.
I didn't ask to go back to school. I already did that tour of duty. Why am I going back?
Well, then you
Tour
end
of
up teaching
duty.
them the old way anyway, so that they can get the answer right later on.
Right? Yeah. No, I do it. I like do it all this. This is how you're gonna do it. And then the teacher doesn't like that way. I'm like, I don't care. This is how we do math. You need to take that somewhere else. So you got that, but you look at it. It's like generationally we've changed so much. People don't work on cars anymore, right? It's like they don't, and so we have the same thing going on in our trade. You have people that just showed up and they're like, I want to make a lot of money and I don't want to do hard work. It's like, well, congratulations. I guess we figured that out. We're gonna make this. We're gonna accommodate you, and so we've dumbed down our trade. Like used to do concentric bends and real cool stuff electrically, like where you had to use trigonometry and you had to depend on your skills. Today, that's not what they want to do.
so that's where the trigonometry comes in. I always ask my algebra teacher, like, when am I ever going to use this in real life? And
To bend
here we
4-inch
are.
rigid
Yeah,
conduit.
here we are.
Yeah, I mean, your angles, degrees, all that stuff, radius, you have to know all of that
Yeah.
to make a conduit and to make multiple conduits next to each other look pretty. Today, what do? They just bend it and then cut it. Right? That was that's not what I got into. And
Right.
so I've watched the trade.
Taking the art out of the artisan, huh?
Right. So the craftsmen, few and far between. And so you hear all this, we have a labor shortage. We have a craftsman shortage. We can get labor, unskilled labor, and we can make this industry rather, manufacturing based. Rather
So how do
than
we fix it?
going towards manufacturing?
Okay.
So, and you look at it, just all the process, like the same thing Henry Ford did over 100 years ago. We just redo it. You go look at like what Tesla does. It's the exact same thing. All Elon Musk does is just go back through Stan Lee's comic books and look around and be like, hey, you know what's going to work? Cyborg Man. Let's try that. And he just and everyone buys into it. They're like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Great idea. It's like, no, Stan Lee came up with that. Why don't you give credit to the guy? Like, no. And so it's the same thing here. We're just going back and trying to do what Henry Ford did 100 years ago, where it's like, how about we, instead of saying you're an electrician, you can do everything, how about we just say you do one thing very well?
Yeah.
I'm only going to start the left front tire on a Ford Expedition for my entire career. Is that so bad? No, I made good wage. I was able to take care of my family. I felt like there was a lot of cars I contributed to. There were a lot of buildings I contributed to. I took care of my family. Same thing.
So is that how you guys are kind of running your operation now?
Exactly.
From a training standpoint?
So like Chris said, there's no shortage of labor, but there's a shortage of craftsmen.
Right.
And so it's kind of a catch-22 because it definitely, manufacturing has been a necessity for us. It's, our hand has been forced because of the lack of craftsmen. And so for the few craftsmen we still have out there, some might view our type of work, which is heavily manufactured, as taking the romance out of why they got into this trade. But because there are so few actual craftsmen, we have to change the work and make it more like snapping Legos into place than your traditional electrician is performed.
So I mean, what kind of work are you doing? Enough work where everything's the same on multiple, like for instance, track housing, that kind of stuff. Is that where you're making your bread and butter?
It's there isn't one answer, right? Like you have to select and standardize into one like product type, right? You have to do so that you get good at that.
Because otherwise the manufacturing is useless at that point if you're doing it one-off, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. So you end up starting to say, this is the product type, and we're going to create a manufactured good for that, and then we're going to train the personnel to install the manufactured good. Then you go to a different product type. The problem with our industry is we're all, and I'm going to say whores. Like it's like, oh, there's work there, there's work there, there's work
100%,
there.
yeah.
All of it's diversified, and we want to do it all. And
we're on the insurance side, so we have a guy that calls us up and says, hey, I like insurance, and he's a plumber. And then 6 months later, we get him a policy that covers a proper plumber properly. And then 6 months later, he goes, "Hey, I just got this solar job. I'm gonna." No, that's not fucking plumbing. Like the stuff you have for your policy doesn't cover you up on a roof installing solar. Like it just doesn't work that way. But yeah, no, I mean to that point, you're exactly right.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how our industry has changed so much, and it's. Obviously because we've had a bunch of lawyers and these contracts that we've written and just totally taken advantage of, contractors start as tradesmen. So it's not like they started and went down the route of like developers where it's like, I got out, I have my MBA, I'm, brilliant. Like we started as guys that were just knuckle dragging, wanted something better for our family, and we move up, and now we're playing in a game that was always rigged against us. I don't know if you read these contracts on the insurance side. Yeah. You're like, you're going to sign that? It's like, no, it's just my house,
most of the time
my kids.
Most of the time they don't even sign it before or read it before they sign it.
No, they just sign it and send it in.
But you want the job, sign the contract.
It's all a game set up by GCs and developers where it's the dumbest thing. It's like, they're like, oh, we're only going to give you time. Okay, well, give me the time. But then they deny you the time and start screaming that you need more guys and that you've messed up. It's just this... It's like a syndicate that they've created, and we're just a victim of it. And they've just kind of pushed us along the whole way. And
I think a lot of that has to do with the subs and the artisans that don't take the time and feel like they don't have the leverage to push back, right, on a lot of these contracts. Because we get them all the time, and they say, hey, we need this, that, and the other, and your next born child and all this other stuff. And we tell our contractors all the time, push back. Tell them you can't give them that, or this is going to cost that much more money, or we're going to charge you this much more because the insurance is that much more, whatever it is. Right. But you got to have kind of a backbone, right? Because otherwise you just keep going down that rabbit hole of making it worse and worse and worse for the next guy and every guy thereafter.
No, that's what we've done. Because they just go find another. They put one of us out of business, they go find another one. There's always somebody that's like, there are gold in them hills, I'm going to go be a gold miner. And it's like, gosh darn it, couldn't we just band together and learn as a sub base? But instead we all think we're unique, and we're like, oh, we got a special deal with this developer and or this owner, and they're going to take care of us with this GC. It's the same racket.
Only until they're done with you,
right? Until they put us out of business, then they go find someone else. There's just nothing but contractor graveyards out there, of guys that were well-intentioned, good morals, good values that just got put out of business because they played in a league that they had no business in.
Yeah.
And so hopefully we're trying to stay out of that. But that's been my experience.
So do you have employees that install as well, or are you just on the manufacturing side?
We install. Well, I don't know how much we want to open up the
Yeah, our business is very different than the traditional construction
we are
business.
not your traditional electrical contractor.
Okay.
So
Probably show up like a tech company in a lot of ways with analytics management and stuff like that. Like that's the future. And so you have a lot of, it's
What led you down that road? I mean, that's curious to us, right? Because the way we're doing this, I guess the field that we're playing in, with contractors coming on something like this digitally and being willing to come on something like that, you're usually tech forward and usually forward thinking when it comes to a lot of, and more progressive in a lot of those aspects. Being willing to come on a show like this, right? The guy that still uses a yellow steno pad and a pencil and does his builds and takeoffs and all that, he's probably not coming on our show, right? So, I mean, the people listening and the people that we've had on are pretty forward thinking in that aspect. So I guess what led you down that road and what, I guess why?
Well, Chris started the business. He can tell you a little better than I can. But, well, why don't you tell him why you started the...
Yeah, I mean, I came into this industry from the outside, right? It's not like, and you start understanding quickly the inefficiency, and I think you're really starting to see the game, right? We're all playing this game, and whatever it's like the Tower of Babel. There's 64 different trades on a job, and they're all through this GC and this owner, and they're all these contracts, and it's just this game. And so you start looking at it, you're like, well, what happens if we deconstruct that? Just like everything, it's like you can't work within that anymore, right? That's fine. That's fine. That's going to end. So now you're wanting to find something that you can move outside of it and figure out, like, is there a different way to do this? Just similar way Tesla did it. Like Katera tried it in construction. They totally fucked it up. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. They come in because they said, all you guys know what you're doing. We know how to do construction better. And we're going to manufacture whole buildings and we're just going to plop them out. And we're a tech company and that's the way it is. So we came at it the other way, which is, no, rather than just saying, none of us know what we're doing and disregarding all these brilliant minds that have been spending 40, 50 years in this trade or even longer at whatever companies have been around for 100 years building it. They totally just shit can that and said those guys don't know what they're doing. If you leverage that and then you're able to work it in the reverse and bring that input into something to then improve construction and start from the inside out. Tech wants to tell you how to do it. They're always just trying to dump you. And I got this new software. I'm Procore. Listen to me. I got whatever it is. They've all got eSub. Everyone's got a bunch of. They're just trying to sell you a product that they made for someone else. And like, no, you can use it too.
Right.
What happens if we started from organically inside and started developing tech that we could use ourselves, and then realized and went to another sub and said, hey, this really works. Here are all the numbers. This is how it works. It's not just a software for you. It's a manufactured good with a software. And your labor as well. So you're now giving them a whole process and system. I think that you're going to start seeing integrated, more integrated components rather than complete manufactured. Who wants to live in a shipping container? Do you?
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Right? It's like I think that's the beautiful thing about construction is it's art. A lot of us are artists in this trade, because you look at a building, you're like, that's beautiful, that's bitchin'. The glass, the glaze, all that stuff makes a building like it's activated, it's gorgeous, it's got rooftop stuff and all this. It's cool. So we want to keep that. How do you keep that but make it faster and cheaper? And I think that's going to what's come out of companies like ourselves as we push forward with it, which is more innovation that serves us, not someone else that created something for a manufacturing
to the
company.
benefit of a GC or a developer or
Yeah.
So give us an example. I mean, do you have a real life example of how you guys work through a project and what you guys do?
I mean, we can give you. We have we work on some things. One of these ones is we're not a robot. We're not going to make robots, but we have robots that we've developed internally to deliver material on job sites. So you're talking about how do you integrate, to make these robots autonomously deliver material so that I don't know if you guys have been to the Win or anything like that. They have these robots that access the elevators, go up, and will drop off water.
I have not been there in the last few years.
Yeah,
so
really?
Holy
it's
cow.
super. But this technology exists. It's very basic. And you can. Why wouldn't we use that same technology to courier material?
Yeah.
if you can deliver water, you can deliver Romex to your electrician.
We
on
already
the fourth floor, on the fourth door on the right, just like your hotel rooms.
You have all these parametric models now thanks to BIM and all that. So you have all these beautiful details of it. Now if you give image recognition, or even if you have the money, LiDAR, and you can do certain things, some of the cheaper LiDAR that gives you a little more distance, you can then see when you have these robots that can transverse your project site. And now you've reduced material handling. And when you look at construction overall, they say like a lot of what we do, 40% of it could be material management.
Yeah.
So if you're able to improve that management and optimize that, how much time do you save for the tradesman to actually do what you want him to do, which is install?
Okay, so let's back up a little bit then. I mean, obviously you were in electrical through your father-in-law, right? So did you start this company as an electrical contractor company and thought, how can we do this better? Or did you start this as, hey, I want a way to do this better, but I know electrical, so I'll start here?
The second.
Okay.
We started as a tech company.
Right.
We had some patents that we were in development on, and we needed a sample to test. And it turned out that we kept testing more, and we got better and better at it. And so we grew faster and faster as an electrical contractor. So, but we're not there. I mean, we do walls. We say print walls, but we cold form roll walls and integrate electrical in them. And we believe that that's an integrated component. Well, everything we talk about is an integrated component so that we can make it faster. But you still need tradesmen to connect it and to bring it together. But it's like the 80-20 rule we say. It's like, well, can we do 80% of it somewhere else and then just have the tradesmen focus on 20%? So you reduce the on-site labor by 4 out of every 5 guys.
And the exposure and everything else, yeah.
Right, that's the future. Because you think about it, like all these horrible GCs and developers have this philosophy where it's like, you just need more guys, give more guys. But just like anything we experience, like look at the 405 freeway. When everyone gets off work and they all try to go home at the same time, it locks up. It's the same thing on the job site. You flood it with a bunch of guys, no one's going anywhere fast. And so these are what we work on. There's a bunch of other stuff too. But
that's fascinating to me. Yeah. I mean, you roll in thinking, oh, we're going to talk to electrical contractors today, and here we are talking to you guys.
We are an electrical
awesome.
contractor and technology incubator.
Yeah.
Is the best way we can kind of coin
Are you guys are you working with anybody else from a contractor standpoint, like using this technology and this mindset on a different subset?
On a different
different trade.
It's a tough concept to prove. You really need to find,
especially in this industry with a lot of really old guys.
The risk averse time that we're in right now. So we're heavy into the R side of the R&D right now. But we hope it's going to pay dividends down the road. But we're the market that we're in should lend itself to when we get our stuff, our ducks in a row. Well,
and I think California is a good place to start too, right? Just because of all the red tape that does exist on a job site, you know what I mean? And the cost of labor and the cost of everything. If you can find a way to make it faster and less expensive.
There's a lot of tape and there's a lot of cost, and there's only going to be more tape and more cost. It's not going the other way.
No.
So.
Yeah. I mean, what kind of cars do you guys drive?
I drive a Jeep.
Okay. And would you paid, I don't know, whatever, let's say $40,000 for the Jeep, right?
That.
Okay, so you feel good about that purchase. Do you feel equally good about paying $500,000 for an apartment or a condo?
$500,000 for a condo? No.
Right. Now,
but I know that that's what it costs nowadays. Yeah.
Yes, but that Jeep, which is far more technologically advanced, has all these braking systems, everything, airbags, all that was $40,000. Yet I'm going to tell you something that's been around over 100 years, drywall, that same sort of wood framing, all of that is $500,000.
Right.
Does that make sense to you?
Nope.
But everyone keeps lining up for it, saying it makes sense. It's crazy making that we've convinced ourselves that it's like we just need to pay people more, and so the cost keeps going up for us to build these things. I grew up union. We are not union. And the reason is because I couldn't get the unions to see what it is that's going to happen to our industry if we don't pivot and change. Right. They're just like, this is a true story. I was IBW Local 11, and I needed to change tracks because I was going to law school at night and for my apprenticeship. And they told me, we don't make lawyers, we make electricians. And I was like, that is so myopic. And I can't believe you would, you are so not forward thinking. You're thinking about the past, and we need everyone to go back to the way it was. Right. Not thinking about the future and what could come. And I love the idea of unions. I think that what it started and stands for and stood for was beautiful, but then I look at it, it's like you're standing in the way of technology and advancement. Yep. Even though they say that they're all for it, they're not. Because if they were, they would integrate trades. Why do we have to keep them separate? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Let's put it all on a wall and then have the wall you weld and ship it there and stand it up, rather than, no, I need to do my trade. I was at a union shop. We did it a long time ago. We'd make multi-trade racks. One of the first, right? You got plumbing, mechanical, and electrical. We all did it, worked together. We get to the job site. No one knows how to put it in the air because all of us want to claim the all thread to strap it to the ceiling. So now we have, what the agreement was each trade would do.
You do one, you do one.
And I was sitting there going like, there's no way we're going to ever advance this industry when we're fighting about work like that. Because it's like, well, that's my work. That's my work. It's like, man, like there's plenty of work out there. This is a massive multi-trillion-dollar industry. Like we can figure this out. We're smarter than that. But everyone just wants to protect their piece of
their
it.
little circle, yeah.
And then they just fight about it. And that's how you get to where we are today, which is
the same place we were 100 years ago.
Actually, I think we were better 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Sears was you could buy a house from Sears and have it in 3 days and build it in 3 weeks, right? It delivered.
Amazon's got that now, right?
Well, Amazon's doing it, but if you ever looked at the Sears houses, they're gorgeous.
Yeah.
They're massive.
Yeah.
And you look at and why
They're not a box.
yeah, it's not a box. Yeah. It's very well thought out. You could have certain. They gave you everything. It came in like 2 rail cars. It was beautiful. Here we are 100 years later, and we're trying to figure out like how do we go back to that. Actually, we even forgot it because we're dumber than we like that. We just forgot that we did that. And someone else is like, this is novel. It's like, no, Sears did that. And then everyone looks at it, it's like, Amazon's crazy. I've never seen anything like it. No, Sears was just like them 100 years ago. They just didn't send it to your door the same
Nothing
way.
new
In
under
2
the
days.
sun, yeah.
Everything
We
always
just keep
new.
repeating
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, like, our business is just, I just steal from Henry Ford.
So tech, lawyer, contractor. What else are you? What aren't you?
No, I'm not any of that. That's not me. I
No?
literally grew up in San Bernardino, California. My dad's a carpenter. I just tried to play the game like everyone else because I was told to play that game. That's
Yeah.
not me. Like,
How far up did you get with your father-in-law's company? I mean, was it always in the field, or did you get into the office and running part of that company?
This is a
Or
good story.
I got in the office.
okay,
Yeah, we were doing okay.
and then
In and out.
He canned me.
did he really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it was a good experience. I mean, it was a very humbling experience. Taught me a lot about myself and more about what it is to be a leader and a manager. Right? It's like I think we have all these concepts of what it is to lead organizations and manage people, and it's geared mainly on money. Like we have to make money. Like. And so you're trying to grind every dollar out of a company, and then you look at it, it's like, no, we're creating social structures. You want it to be a legacy for your employees, and so that at the end of it, they feel like they contributed to something that lives beyond them. It's not about you, and I think that's where a lot of people get it mixed, is that it's about them and their cars and their lifestyle, and I want to get a jet, I want to live the Instagram life. So that was what came from that experience, was just kind of more understanding where we're going as an organization. So it was one of the better experiences I had, but that's how that ended. I got canned.
So I gotta believe that there's I watch a lot of Shark Tank, right? And one thing they kind of hit on people a lot with some of the newer idea stuff is education, right? Like educating the consumer. Where are you guys at on that aspect? I mean, I have to imagine that's probably one of the tougher pieces of what you guys are doing.
Educating the consumer.
To what Patrick said, our company is doing a lot of things. Like it's not one thing. It's in a lot of different things. We've got a lot of lines, and
we're being kind of coy because we don't want to spill the beans.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, we're not here to.
No, our company.
Yeah, we're not here to.
We're very diverse.
Spoilers.
In a wide spectrum where it's like that's nothing like any of our competitors. Our competitors aren't really electrical contractors. Our competitors are.
Well, the offsite manufacturers kind of.
That's not only the extent of it.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's.
Stay tuned for more to come.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, today this is what I can tell you. We have some amazing people that do terrific electrical construction projects. How we build those is different than other people,
Of course.
and that's been our I guess our secret sauce. It comes down to, like we said, people.
Yeah.
You were in a restaurant business, it's service business. What we do is service. We're providing construction. We looked at it from a production and efficiency standpoint.
So are you out looking for other contractors who are maybe willing to kind of take this next step with you, or is it a situation where you're on a job and somebody comes to you? Or I guess bottom line of the question is, are you out approaching people trying to kind of disseminate this technology, or are people coming to you because they've seen it working?
We're trying to find a job that's going to launch the product for us.
Okay.
It's difficult to find the right job, the right project
Right.
team to do that. So no one's approaching us because they haven't seen it work yet.
Right.
People like Katera are trying and fail. We're thankful that they are, because it's whether they succeed or fail, it's advancing the industry.
Right.
'Cause we're trying. So people aren't coming to us yet, but we're still, like I said, we're doing a lot of the R and the R&D is the stage that we're in.
We generate a lot of interest. Like, they're much larger companies than us that come through and check out what we're working on. It's R&D. That's all we're doing. Like, we know that we're testing it on ourselves, and at some point in time, we will have a very robust product that will feed not just contractors. It'll go from the consumer all the way up and back down the gamut. So we're working on a very large suite of products. And then, it's not just the product, though. It's the training. How do you train individuals to install your product? Look at a Ring doorbell, right? You get this whole tutorial on your phone about how to install the doorbell. Did you guys get Rings?
Oh, yeah.
And you went through the tutorial. Yep. Does it work?
Well, see, I don't have the Ring. I've got 8 security cameras with infrared and thermal imaging. I've put up all over the house.
It's Ring on steroids, basically.
Holy mackerel. That's a little concerning. There's lasers and sharks.
Is this place secure?
I was gonna say, if there's a civil unrest,
I'm running.
You want to come to my
his
house?
yeah.
Yeah.
Zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
We're going to your house.
Yeah.
Especially in the Jeep. Is it raised? Maybe we get over some.
But yes, no, I have a Ring, and I went through the tutorial and the whole thing, and I'm still learning, man. I just got it like a month ago, so.
There are certain things like that. So that's also kind of what it is. It's like, don't just give somebody a product, give them a path to reaching success. And that's what we're working on. So yes, we have some contractor partners that we are looking to deploy more and more. This year will be hopefully the first year that we start actively pursuing strategic contractors. Like, we have sales personnel that are going to be trying to work with them. We're really in a data collection state. Like, we need more data. We need to trend it, understand what it's telling us about different contractors in different geographic regions, different labor forces. Right, we're right now only on electrical, but eventually we need to understand the bigger thing, right? We start small and then move up, rather than Katera that just came as like, I'm the UFO, we're here, and everyone just love us because we got $3 billion and we know what we're doing. And we're going to be the other way, which is, and the way we operate as a company is, we're not this is the first time we've ever really talked to we're not really boastful. It's like, we'll do it, and then you can come see it when it's done.
Right.
But it's not like, hey, we're working on this, come check it out. It's like, no, that's not really interesting. It's like, I would like to see it work. I'd like to know that it works before I go to someone and say, buy this product, use this software, do this. Because they've already been, our whole industry's been sold that for, every time someone new comes out, it's like, oh, you're going to need this. It's going to make labor installation so much faster. Okay, then you go look at productivity over time. We've only got less efficient. So whatever Procore sold or any of these other guys sold, it didn't help. If anything, it made it more confusing, and we have more issues as a result. Because we just talked about in the 1940s, 50s, Disneyland went up in 4 months. Today, we can't seem to build a building, no matter how small it is, in less than 3 years.
Yeah.
The problem a lot of these companies are solving is that they don't have enough money in their bank account. They're not solving problems for the industry. They're solving their own business problems, more or less.
Katera went to solve the wrong problem. They believed that the world needed their buildings in a can, shit out as quick as possible from these. That's not the problem. The problem was, how do we move and improve production and labor, right? How do you improve what it is that we're doing? And maybe you do it differently rather than us doing the same sequencing, the same trade activity. How do you understand what's going on? They didn't care about what's going on. They didn't really care to understand the labor that's currently there. If I move a shitter 50 feet, what is the net impact to the production on the job site? Those are the kinds of things that you want to study.
Yeah.
Because it tells you, how do we operate within the constructs that we are today? Really understand what's going on the job sites, figure out how to optimize the job sites, because that's where we are. That's how we work. It's cottagey. Instead, Katera's like, no, you want it? I'll do it in 90 days. There it is. There's your building. It's like, well, does that building work?
That happened fast.
Yeah. Does it work in every geographic region? Does every municipality like it? Are you guys getting busted up by inspectors because your trusses aren't made correctly? It's like they just went too fast.
Right.
we're a risk-adverse industry, and it starts everywhere. It's not just at one level. It's at the planning stages with architects, engineers. It's at the building permitting stage when they're reviewing the drawings, making sure fire, when they're making sure that you have ingress and egress and everything's good. Like you don't short track that stuff, but how do you improve it is our focus. So we'll see how it works. I mean, it could be a colossal failure.
We're gonna go down swinging though.
I find it hard to believe though at this point. I mean, you guys are pretty far down the road and seem like you've got a lot figured out at this point.
Got a lot left to figure out, but it's all about diversity. It's the buzzword of the 2020s. But for us, it's important in terms of revenue streams, and we're just into a lot.
So if you're not rolling it out yet, how are you making money right now? What are you doing to make money right now?
We're testing it on us.
Yeah.
And it's improved our business dramatically. So we know that it's not just a proof of concept, right? Most people are like, yeah, I got this idea, and I'm going to go get VC, and then I'm going to go just blow it all over the United States, and let's see what happens. It blew up. It's pump and dump. For us, it's like, no, let's methodically work through this. And if it works for us, I know it'll work for you. And it'll work for someone else. Rather than, I just had a bunch of cool kids that stayed up all night on Red Bull, pumped out a bunch of code, and now you're going to love this. It's going to it's like LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram for construction. It's like, what the hell? Like, we don't need that shit. How's that going to help me? That's basically what we're getting from all these guys.
So how much longer do you think this research phase is going to be before you guys actually pump this out? Because I got to imagine this has been a long time in the making as well, right? I can feel like your mind working all the time. It sounds like so.
Yeah.
It'll happen sooner if I do my job better and get the people Chris.
Well, I mean, this episode I think is gonna drop like next Tuesday. So was that a good date?
Careers at ryecompany.com for interested applicants.
Yeah, this is something that, I mean, we have some of our patents that will like go from provisional later this month, so we'll feel better about our stance and position once we get those secured.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
Glad that you heard it. I think that will, because obviously I know that someone else they can see what we've done and accelerate it. And that's always the concern. So that's why you have to keep it kind of close to the vest, and you're just like, I'm developing it because there are better people that can build better robots than us, that can do better software development than us, that can do better hardware development than us. That's not us. But what they can't do is make it for me, because I'm the only person that understands what I need. Yeah. And that's always been the disconnect. You go to a contractor, this is what you need. He's like, the fuck I need this? Like, I just asked for a shovel. What the hell is this thing? Right? It's like, oh no, you don't even understand. This is even better than a shovel. It's like, well, no, because you don't understand what I'm trying to dig here. Like, you don't understand what I've got here. And that's this disconnect. So for us, it's like, if it works for me, I know it's going to work for other contractors. Right. So we're still trying to get, and I'm probably a little bit of a perfectionist on a lot of it too.
I sense that a little bit.
Because I don't want to be a charlatan. There are plenty of fucking charlatans in the world, right? It's like, that's all you see. It's like, that's my biggest fear is like, I love Elon Musk. I think he's brilliant, but I also think like, man, he must be scared of himself, because there's a lot of charlatan tendencies in there. It's like anybody that can make Bitcoin's value go up like that, it's like, whoa, that's crazy with a tweet.
Thank you, by the way, for that. Yeah.
Right. Oh, you benefited. Congratulations.
Thank you should write
Elon Musk a nice thank you card. Please keep tweeting. It's awesome. And I think that's any CEO's like fear is that you end up becoming, that you lose touch with reality, and that you don't really have a good well, that's my fear. I don't want to talk for them. Yeah. They can, whatever theirs is. My fear is that I wake up and I'm a charlatan, and I wasn't able to provide a good service that people want. I ended up doing, I can't tell you how many softwares we've been through as a company, where someone comes and is like, you got to have this. It's gonna revolutionize your business. And then you're like, gosh, just put it right next to all the other ones. I got sold and it didn't work. So to answer the question, I hope it's in the next year. I hope that we've got some products that are starting to roll through our manufacturing line and manufactured good line. So we have some direct to consumer products that are coming out that we're pretty stoked about. So, that's where we see the first phase. And then we have the contractor products that we see. Those will be coming out too this year. And we'll
be a
start
big year.
slow.
Gonna be a big year.
That's awesome, man.
We'll see. Like
Yeah.
I said, you never know. It can either be good or it can go down swinging.
Go down swinging.
Just-
No called third strikes. For
We're definitely, we didn't come to lay up. We're not going to put down a bunt. Yeah, we're just going to,
Swing
Go for the
away.
fence.
yeah.
Swing away.
It's like vintage Gagne's on the mound. Let's see if we can hit him.
Vintage Kanye.
Yeah, just bringing cheddar on the juice. Like, just like, all right, let's see if we can hit it.
Vintage Gagne.
Awesome, man. Well, I know you guys got to get going. Before we let you go, I want to let you let everybody know how to find you, how to get a hold of you. If you guys got,
If you want to be
yeah,
found.
yeah.
I do
If
not.
you got social
This
media,
man's-
We would love to be found.
or social media, or anything, websites, whatever it is. Yeah.
www.ryecompany.com, RYE Company, and careers@ryecompany.com for interested applicants, electrical foremen, project managers, apprentices, estimators, hardware and software engineers. Also, law graduates. We're probably the only company
What do
in our
you,
industry.
what do you use a law graduate for?
So good
Contracts.
question. We have there you go. So we have two current lawyers serving in non-lawyer roles. We used to have a third. They came to us. They predated me. I've been with the company a little over a year, but you go to law school thinking you want to be a lawyer, and then you get to a law firm and you realize
You don't want to be a lawyer.
It may not be what it's all cracked out to be. Someone has a stopwatch when you go to the bathroom, because when you're in the bathroom, you're not billing.
You're not billing, yeah.
But what do you know as a lawyer? You know contracts. And so contracts are the biggest part of construction anymore, it seems. So,
Yep.
So that's actually brings up another reminder for me that I need to get on the lawyer recruitment. Careers@ryecompany.com and www.ryecompany.
You guys on any social media or any of that kind of stuff, showing off your stuff? And
No,
I don't like doing that.
you don't like to
He
do that?
tries, no.
He doesn't want to be a charlatan.
He's all about the action.
Yeah, yeah.
We're working on building out.
You guys got cool
Instagram.
shit, though. I feel like.
I know. We want to present it the right way.
Okay.
Right? Like we
Makes
want to
sense.
put our
Not
best
yet.
foot
It's rather under
Yeah.
promise, over deliver. It's
Yeah,
that's the whole. That's what you want in life, right?
Yeah.
Who wants to get told like, oh, it's the greatest thing ever, and then you get like this fucking blow. And then you have to go. Then those people end up going around to their friends like, look how great this is, because they're trying to talk themselves into how great it is. But it's
Justify the
shit.
purchase.
Right? It's like, oh no, this is great. You should get one too. And it's like, okay. And then
Isn't this awesome? We both have it. So,
Sounds about right.
But
Awesome.
appreciate you guys having us.
No, thanks, man.
Thanks
We
for
look,
coming.
We're just 10 minutes down the road. If you want to do an encore, maybe we can.
yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah,
I feel
for
like at
sure.
some point when you guys get
Well, you're
closer,
gonna have to.
you have to come back.
maybe a year from now we'll check in and see if we rolled out the product we've been talking about.
There
Okay.
you go.
Hold us to it, February 22.
We'll do.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Well, we appreciate it. Thanks so much
awesome, guys.
for stopping in, man. We appreciate the
Yeah.
time.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Hey, thanks for listening. And if you've made it this far, go ahead and give us a like or 5 stars or whatever means you like us.
Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. And check out our website for more video content and extras.
While you're there, shoot us a message if you want to be a guest. We'd love to have you on.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.